Hello, welcome to this video on question in mathematics section 2, paper 2. The optional questions, the question related to functions. Now, what do you know about functions? In mathematics, there's this concept called functions. We'll first look at an example of a question. Determine if x is a function in this expression here, x squared minus 2y equal to 4. You can pause the video and solve this problem on your own. First, before following me on this video, is x a function? For you to be able to determine that, you have to know the concept. What is a function? Well, in paper 2, section 2, the optional section, it tests your ability, it tests your knowledge of functions, the different types of functions, how to determine whether something is a function or not, and how to solve equations, linear and quadratic equations, and expressing one equation into a function and so on. So let's see, you rewrite the problem, x squared minus 2y equal to 4. What's the next step? Do you know? Well, the next step is you rewrite the equation in such a way that y is on the left hand side. So here we transfer x squared to the right hand side, becomes minus x squared. Then we further simplify. We isolate the variable y, and we get this expression here. Y is a function of the right hand side, this expression on the right hand side. Now you want to know if y is a function. For it to be a function, y has to have a unique value when you plug in the value of x, when x has a unique value. So let's see. Do you know the 5 most important concepts related to functions? If you don't know the basic definition of of a function and so on, and how to determine it, you wouldn't be able to solve problems related to functions. That's the key thing. Now the question tests how many marks does this type of question carry on paper 2, section 2. 15 marks. Most students, around 75% of the students, don't get 5 or 7 marks for this question. Yes, they perform poorly on this question because they do not know what a function is and how to determine if something is a function. The question in the exam, it tests your knowledge of what functions are, how to determine them, your skills at solving problems related to functions, and your competencies, how you apply them to a new situation, new problem. So knowledge. The questions come in the form of what. On the question related to functions, ask yourself, what mnemonic device can I use to help me store information on this topic? You want to remember the definition, so you need to know at least 5 most important concepts. You can pause the video, jot down in your notebook what are the 5 most important concepts related to functions that you know. If you can't recall that, you have to check your textbook and search for the definitions and functions and so on. Now you need to generate questions on your own, low order questions. Test your knowledge of the subject. What is a function? For example, now in this video I'll generate some questions, but you gain more when you generate questions for yourself. You go to your textbook and you write down questions. What is a function? And write down the definition of what it is. What does a function look like? What is a domain? Do you know the difference between a domain and a range? What is the relationship between graphs and functions? These are basic concepts. Unless you are familiar with these, you will not be able to solve problems related to functions. What is an inverse function? What is a reciprocal function? Pause the video, take out your textbook and answer these questions. Write them out. Write down the answers. What is the inverse of a composite function? Now, higher order knowledge questions that you need to generate on your own and ask yourself. Higher order questions test your understanding, whereas what is questions test your knowledge, your ability to recall definitions and so on. High order questions test your understanding of concepts and principles. They ask you to, for example, explain, classify, describe, discuss, identify, select, and recognize ideas or concepts or principles. Think of it. How questions. Explain how a set of ordered pairs is a relation. Can you do that? Pause the video and explain how a set of ordered pairs is a relation. What is the difference between a relation and a function? What is similar? What is the difference between the domain and the range? What is similar to those things? Unless you can answer these questions now, before you even attempt to solve questions related to functions, you won't be able to do that. Do I know how to write the function notation? Yes. Well, do I know how to plot the graph of a given function? So those are the questions you need to generate and ask yourself. Many students do not understand function notation. Make sure you go through this video several times and generate questions. Take out your notebook on the question of functions. Identify the key terms in the textbook. Form questions, answer those questions, and so on. This will give you the foundation for mastering problems related to functions.